33,000 feet is 6 miles. It's higher than Mount Everest's summit. At that altitude, the air is so thin you can't breathe. The temperature is 60 degrees below zero. When you fall from that height, you have approximately 3 minutes before you hit the ground. 3 minutes to understand you're about to die. 3 minutes of pure terror before impact kills you instantly. Nobody survives a fall from 33,000 feet. Nobody except Vesna Vulović. She's 22 years old in January 1972. A flight attendant for JAT Yugoslav Airlines. She's been doing this job for only 8 months, but she loves it. The travel, the adventure, the chance to see places she'd never otherwise visit. She grew up in Belgrade, Serbia, in the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. Her childhood was ordinary until one day she saw a flight attendant walking through the airport. The woman looked so elegant, so confident. Vesna thought to herself, why shouldn't I do that? I could travel to London once a month. So she applied. JAT hired her in Now a year later, she's living her dream. On January 25, 1972, she receives her assignment for the next day. JAT Flight 367, Stockholm to Belgrade, with stopovers in Copenhagen and Zagreb. But here's the strange part. She wasn't originally scheduled for this flight. The airline confused her with another flight attendant also named Vesna. When she realized the mistake, she could have corrected it, could have said, "That's not my assignment." But she didn't. She was excited to visit Denmark for the first time, so she said yes. The crew arrives in Copenhagen on the morning of January 26. They have the entire afternoon and evening to themselves before the flight the next day. Vesna wants to go sightseeing. She wants to explore the city, see the architecture, experience Danish culture, but her colleagues insist on shopping instead. Everybody wanted to buy something for his or her family, she'll later recall. The captain doesn't leave his hotel room at all. He stays locked inside for 24 hours. Something about that detail will haunt investigators later. What did he know? At 1:30 p.m. on January 26, 1972, the crew boards Flight 367 at Copenhagen Airport. They watch as passengers from the Stockholm leg deplane, then greet the new passengers boarding for the continuation to Belgrade. 23 passengers, 6 crew members, 28 people total on a McDonnell Douglas DC-9. One of those passengers checks a bag, but never boards. Vesna notices this. She'll remember it later, in fragments. She believes the bomb was in that bag. She greets passengers at the rear door, sees a few women cleaning the plane, then nothing. That's the last memory she has before waking up in a hospital bed, with her mother beside her. Everything between those two moments is gone, erased. Her brain protected her from the horror by deleting it entirely. What actually happens is this. At 4:01 p.m., 46 minutes after takeoff, the DC-9 is cruising at 3,330 feet over Srpska Kamenice in Czechoslovakia, now the Czech Republic. The plane is flying level and smooth, no turbulence, no warning. Then a briefcase bomb hidden in the luggage compartment detonates. The explosion rips the fuselage apart. The plane breaks into 3 pieces instantly. The cabin depressurizes in a fraction of a second. Passengers and crew in the forward and middle sections are sucked out into the freezing air. They fall 6 miles, conscious for every second, before hitting the ground at terminal velocity. Death is instant, violent, complete. But Vesna is in the tail section. She's walking through the galley when the bomb explodes. The blast throws her backward. A metal food cart slams into her, pinning her against the rear wall of the fuselage. The cart traps her in place. When the tail section separates from the rest of the aircraft, she's still inside it, still pinned, still unconscious from the initial blast. The tail section begins to fall, not straight down like the other passengers. The aerodynamics of the fuselage create a tumbling, spinning descent. The structure, though compromised, remains partially intact around her. It falls like a sealed capsule, a coffin with walls. For 3 minutes, maybe longer, the tail section plummets through the sky. It's spinning, tumbling. The metal screams. The air pressure inside fluctuates wildly. Vesna is unconscious through all of it. Her body doesn't tense for impact. Her muscles stay relaxed. This will save her life. The tail section crashes into a heavily wooded hillside near Srpska Kamenice. The forest is covered in deep snow, maybe 3 feet of powder. The trees are dense. The fuselage hits at an angle, not straight down. The trees absorb some of the impact. The snow absorbs more. The angle prevents the fuselage from compressing like an accordion. And Vesna, still pinned by the food cart, doesn't slam into anything hard. The cart that trapped her also cushioned her. The physics of survival aligned in ways that happen once in a billion. Bruno Honky is a local villager walking through the forest that evening. He hears screaming, a woman's voice, distant but clear. He runs toward the sound and finds wreckage scattered across the hillside. Metal twisted into unrecognizable shapes. Luggage split open. Papers everywhere. And in the middle of it, a woman in a blood-stained turquoise flight attendant uniform. No shoes, her legs bent at wrong angles, blood pooling in the snow around her. But alive, screaming, conscious. Bruno is a World War II medic. He knows what to do. He stabilizes her as best he can and calls for help. Emergency crews arrive. They transport her to a hospital in Prague. When doctors first see her, they assume she won't survive the night. Her injuries are catastrophic. Fractured skull, broken vertebrae. 3 of them, crushed. Broken legs, both of them, multiple fractures. Shattered pelvis, broken ribs, internal bleeding. Her brain is hemorrhaging. She slips into a coma. But 3 days later, she wakes up. 10 days according to some reports. 27 days according to others. The exact timeline is disputed, but she wakes up. The first thing she does is ask for a cigarette. The doctors are stunned. They expected her to die. Instead, she's asking for cigarettes and wondering where she is. She has no memory of the flight, no memory of the explosion, no memory of falling. She remembers boarding in Copenhagen and then waking up in Prague. Everything between is blank. Total amnesia. Her injuries leave her paralyzed from the waist down. Doctors tell her she'll never walk again. She refuses to accept this. Within 10 months, through brutal physical therapy and sheer determination, she's walking. She limps for the rest of her life, because her spine is permanently twisted, but she walks. She attributes her recovery to a childhood diet that included chocolate, spinach, and fish oil. Doctors attribute it to her unusually low blood pressure, the same condition that almost disqualified her from being a flight attendant in the first place. That low blood pressure kept her heart from bursting during the fall. The very thing that made her an unlikely candidate for the job is the thing that saved her life. She spends 16 months recovering. In June 1972, she's released from the hospital and travels to Montenegro to recuperate at a seaside resort. By September 1972, she's expressing willingness to return to work as a flight attendant. JAT Airlines says no. They're worried her presence on flights will attract too much publicity, so they give her a desk job negotiating freight contracts. She accepts. She continues to fly as a passenger though. She loves flying, has no fear of it, can't remember the crash, so there's nothing to be afraid of. In Yugoslavia, she becomes a national hero. President Josip Broz Tito honors her. A folk singer writes a song about her, called Vesna the Stewardess. She's celebrated as a symbol of Serbian resilience. A Cold War heroine. The woman who refused to die. In 1985, Guinness World Records officially recognizes her achievement. Highest fall survived without a parachute. 33. Paul McCartney presents her with the certificate and medal at a ceremony. She grew up listening to the Beatles, so this moment is surreal for her. One of her idols handing her an award for surviving the impossible. But the story has a darker side. The explosion was caused by a bomb. This is confirmed by the Czechoslovak Civil Aviation Authority. On the same day as Flight 367, another bomb explodes on a train between Vienna and Zagreb, injuring 6 people. A Swedish newspaper receives a phone call from someone claiming to be a Croatian nationalist, taking credit for both attacks. The caller claims the bombing is part of a campaign for Croatian independence from Yugoslavia. Croatian separatist group Ustaše is suspected, but no arrests are ever made. The investigation goes nowhere. Vesna becomes an anti-nationalist symbol. She speaks out against ethnic violence. In the 1990s, when Slobodan Milosevic's regime tears Yugoslavia apart, she protests openly. She joins demonstrations, speaks at rallies, uses her celebrity to advocate for peace. In 1990, she's fired from JA Airlines for participating in anti-government protests. She tells the New York Times, "I am like a cat. I have had 9 lives. But if nationalist forces in this country prevail, my heart will burst. I am strong. But the politics in this country are making me tired. My heart can't take much more." She marries in the mid-1970s. The marriage ends in divorce 10 years later. She lives alone in Belgrade. Continues to fly as a passenger, never regains her memory of the crash, never wants to. In interviews, she says she doesn't think about the accident every day. She's moved on. But she's also aware that her survival is inexplicable. Doctors, physicists, aviation experts, they all study her case. They can point to factors that helped: the tail section staying intact, the angle of impact, the snow, the trees, her low blood pressure, her unconscious state preventing muscle tension. But none of those factors alone explain it. All of them together barely explain it. She shouldn't be alive, but she is. On December 23, 2016, Vesna Vulović dies in her Belgrade apartment at the age of 66. Friends find her body. The cause of death is never officially released. She lived 44 years after falling 6 miles from the sky. 44 years longer than anyone thought possible. Her Guinness World Record still stands. No one has survived a higher fall without a parachute. No one else has beaten the physics of terminal velocity and lived. Aviation experts say her survival was a perfect storm of impossible coincidences. The bomb's placement, the way the plane broke apart, the tail section's trajectory, the forest, the snow, the angle, her position, the food cart, her blood pressure, her unconscious state. Remove any one of those factors and she dies. Change any variable by even a small amount and she dies. But all of them aligned, every single one, in a way that has never happened before or since. Vesna Vulović fell 33,330 feet without a parachute and walked away. 6 miles through freezing air. Terminal velocity, certain death, except she lived. She walked. She flew again. She danced at weddings. She protested dictators. She met Paul McCartney. She lived an entire life after surviving the unsurvivable. Her story defies physics, medicine, and logic. It's a reminder that sometimes, very rarely, against all odds, miracles happen. Not because of divine intervention or supernatural forces, but because the universe occasionally arranges itself in ways that shouldn't be possible. And when it does, all you can do is be grateful you were there to see it.